Good evening, and welcome to the 15th Annual Davidson Fellows Awards Ceremony. I'm Bob Davidson, co-founder of the Davidson Institute, the parent organization. This evening, we will be celebrating the amazing accomplishments of this year's 20 Davidson Fellows, including cancer and cellular research, formulation of new algorithms in math, computer science, and medical research, creating the next generation of supercapacitors, converting wastewater into potable water, making biodiesel more efficient, solving new proofs to decades-old mathematical conjectures, and extraordinary musical and literary portfolios. The Davidson Fellows not only represent some of the brightest young minds in the country, but also kindness, compassion, and a strong desire to improve the world around them. Many of their projects were inspired by personal experiences that motivated these young people to find a solution to a problem, whether it was watching a family member suffer from cancer or watching children in India drink polluted water. Each fellow is driven to use their passion and intelligence to make our world a better place. We have a past Davidson Fellow laureate joining us tonight, Jonathan Rajashini, who was a fellow in 2010. And thanks, Jonathan, for coming back and joining us. Tonight we'll be recognizing the 2015 fellows, 3 Davidson Fellow laureates with $50,000 scholarship awards, 9 Davidson Fellows receiving $25,000 scholarship awards, and 8 receiving $10,000 scholarships. So, without further ado, let's get ready and start with the $10,000 recipients. And number 1, who, after this ceremony, will be playing his euphonium for us, and I can't wait. Mr. Joe Brown, an 18-year-old musician from McLean, Virginia. Joe?
Good evening. My name is Joe Broome, and I come from McLean, Virginia. My project in the category of music is titled Music as Voice, Presenting the Mosaic of Life. It includes a portfolio that explores the journey of finding my voice through my unique instrument, the euphonium, and that presents the mosaic of life, using music performance for the benefit of others. Through performance, I hope to demonstrate music is not neutral, but it is a dynamic force, and whatever life brings, artists are responsible to perfect their art form for the benefit of the human spirit. I began performing at 10 years old, and I quickly developed technical proficiency. Technique can impress an audience, but it is technique combined with artistic expression that moves an audience. I've learned that this combination presents to the audience a mosaic, thousands of pieces of interdependent experiences and feelings. As a featured soloist on From the Top with the United States Marine Band, the United States Air Force Band, and as a 2015 United States Presidential Scholar in the Arts, I've enjoyed unique opportunities to demonstrate what I have learned to national audiences. My music teacher, Stephen Mead, my parents, and my nominators, Dr. Robin Hooker and Rodney Marsalis, have guided and supported me as I have developed my musicianship. They've taught me a musician's contributions have the potential to be ever present. Through music, I hope to share the rich vocabulary of joy, courage, passion, triumph, and even defeat that make up the human journey for all of us. Thank you.
our next $10,000 recipient, Mr. Augustine Chimparathi, an 18-year-old scientist from San Ramon, California.
Hello, everyone. My name is Augustine Chimparathi, and I'm from San Ramon, California. I'm truly honored and grateful to have my work recognized by the Davidson Institute today. My project, which is titled Engineering the Electron Sink Behavior of Triacylglycerol to Increase Algal Biodiesel Yield, is in the category of science. Today, climate change threatens our nation and nations around the globe. Receding coastlines, chronic water shortages, and the spread of infectious diseases all call for a new era of environmental innovation and responsibility. My research focused on the possibility of using algal biofuel as a source of clean, carbon-neutral energy. I found that algae produce an important biodiesel precursor known as triacylglycerol, or TAG, in order to prevent oxidative stress within the cell. By then simulating these same oxidative stress conditions in bioengineered algal strains, I was able to produce algal lines that grow faster and synthesize up to 30% more oil per cell than existing strains. These strains will streamline further bioengineering efforts and hold great promise for making algal biodiesel a more economical proposition. This project would not have been possible without the mentorship of Dr. Xiaobo Li and Dr. Martin Jonkis at the Carnegie Institution for Science at Stanford. I also need to thank my parents, who often had to pick me up from the lab really late at night and didn't even complain once. And I would also like to thank, finally, my high school teachers, especially Ms. Catherine Huang at Doherty Valley High School and Dr. Kim Failer at Stanford Online High School, who inspired me to pursue my research. Thank you.
Next, we have someone I know and have been very proud of for several years, Ms. Grace Hong. She's an 18-year-old graduate of the Davidson Academy in Reno, Nevada, located on the campus of the University of Nevada, who's attending Stanford this fall. Grace?
Hi, everyone. So my name is Grace Hong, and I am so honored and grateful to be named a Davidson Fellow in Literature for my project, The Spaces, Exploring Multi-Ethnic Identities of the Past, Present, and Future. I currently hail from Nevada and am a proud graduate of the Davidson Academy, but as my project suggests, origins are never that simple. For multi-ethnic people such as myself, our mix of different backgrounds is extremely enriching. But in a world where the underlying assumption is that one's race, nationality, and ethnicity must always align, it's easy to not feel completely at home in the places that we belong to. As such, we inhabit the spaces between cultures, a sort of limbo land outside of established groups. My project attempts to shed light on these unique experiences and problems and move towards a more flexible conception of culture and identity. So I just returned from studying abroad in South Korea on a scholarship sponsored by the Department of State 2 months ago. And my conversations with fellow Korean Americans, Korean adoptees, and other people who responded to my project online convinced me that this is something I need to continue exploring. So I'm super excited to begin work on the stories I encountered this summer and look forward to pushing my thought even further as a student at Stanford University. I'd like to take the chance to thank my mother, who has constantly supported and encouraged my artwork, the Davidsons, who helped shape my educational journey, and my mentors, Alana Simmons and Dr. Gail Marie, for helping me put my stories into words and create something I want to continue working on for a long, long time. Our world is quickly becoming a place where origin is no longer a single point, but but a trail of births and rebirths dotting across the globe, a future we must continue to usher in with the help of stories, narratives, and dreams. Thank you.
Our next fellow is Samantha Cory, an 18-year-old scientist from nearby Sacramento, California. Sammy?
Hello, fellow fellows and families. My name is Samantha Cory, and I'm from Sacramento, California. I was 10 the last time I was in Washington, D.C. My dad brought me here on a special father-daughter trip, just the two of us, for a week to see the museums and tour the monuments and make memories only the two of us could share. So I find it significant that I'm back here today as a fellow in the science category, again because of him. Just months after that adventure, my dad had brain surgery that left him fully and permanently disabled. That day, I made it my mission to do everything I could to better his quality of life. The possibility that my research could ultimately lead to his improvement in his recovery, that my goal could be actualized, is tremendously rewarding. He is my inspiration and my role model. He shows me what hard work and perseverance truly mean. My project, entitled A New Mechanism for Protonic Communication, pH signaling via 2D sound waves, proved that pH pulses and pressure pulses can be coupled in a biological membrane, thus making it possible to be remotely and reversibly altering the internal pH of an embedded protein, even in the presence of disrupted neuronal pathways. Since changes in pH can modify the shape and/or structure of proteins, careful manipulation of receptor site geometry could enhance the effectiveness of certain cancer treatments. Additionally, my finding could ultimately lead to the modulation of hormone levels in endocrine systems and the alleviation of pain circuits by blocking or inhibiting neurofeedback. I'm honored to receive this award, but I'm humbled by the limelight. As anyone in science knows, research is a collaborative process. So I'd like to thank my mentor, Shriya for introducing me to the specific focus of our biological physics lab, helping me to organize my data so that I can interpret my results both individually and holistically, and for encouraging me to apply for the Siemens competition and this Davidson Fellows Scholarship. I appreciate all that my family has done for me, from fostering my interest in science from a young age, to encouraging me to go off each summer to participate in science programs, to proofreading my work. They helped me gain confidence in my abilities and in the significance of my own work. Additionally, I'd like to thank and recognize my chemistry teacher, Mr. Montbriand, who inspired me and was willing to write countless letters of recommendation on my behalf. He was instrumental in my success. This scholarship has offered me the ability to share my ideas with such a receptive audience and will offset some of the huge expense of college. Thank you, Bob and Jan Davidson. I am so grateful and so honored. I never would have expected my research to garner so much attention, but I'm glad that my interest has now sparked yours. Thank you.
Our next recipient is Vanitas Raju. Vanit.
Good evening. My name is Vanitas Raju, and I'm from San Jose, California. I'm currently a senior at the Harker High School, and my project is titled towards rational RNA therapeutics, 3D RNA engineering in a massive open laboratory, and it's in the category of science. So my project focused on studying RNA molecules, which are found in all forms of life, and they've been recently used to destroy viral genes and fight diseases like cancer. And currently research into RNA medicine is mostly trial and error based, which is really inefficient. And so my project focused on creating an interface and a platform that reduces these inefficiencies by allowing for the design of accurate 3D RNA molecules. And in the process, I also discovered folding rules that will help us with increasing the stability of these molecules, further helping research. So in the future, I hope to expand on this platform and continue improving it to discover other design rules for RNA molecules, especially for therapeutics and diagnostics. And my ultimate goal is that with this interface, with this platform, we can eventually efficiently create RNA diagnostics or therapeutics that can be used as treatments for disease. And so I'd like to thank my mentors, Dr. Joseph Yesselman and Dr. Riju Das from Stanford University and Dr. Adrian Choi from Carnegie Mellon for providing invaluable guidance and aid. I'd also like to thank my teachers and friends, as well as my family, for their unwavering support. Finally, I'd like to thank the Davidson Institute for this amazing once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Thank you.
Our next recipient, 17-year-old scientist from Cortland Manor, New York, is Jazz Muniz. Jazz?
Hello, my name is Jazz Muniz, and I'm from the mystical place of Westchester, New York, said no one ever. And my research was microfluidics facilitated synthesis and characterization of apoptosis-inducing low-cost nanoparticles for cancer therapeutics, and I apologize for the title. So basically what I was looking into was how we could try to bridge the gap between chemotherapy, which was a systemic kind of flooding the body with toxins, as well as kind of the opposite approach where you're targeting either a specific type of cancer or a specific patient even. And while both are kind of differently good approaches, they can lead to high costs for patients, and cancer is not a socioeconomically blind issue. So in my research, I was trying to find almost a Trojan horse nanoparticle that could allow for the widespread treatment of multiple types of cancer at once. So that was what I was able to do at Mount Sinai Medical School over the past 3 summers, and I absolutely loved the research. It was fascinating. Nanomedicine it's coming. It's going to be the thing which is going to change medicine for us and for the future generations. So wonderful. So right now I'm at Cornell. I'm a freshman. I've only been there for 1 month, so it was already weird to leave and come here, but I love DC and I love this experience. And I'm continuing the research there, bringing it into mouse trials, bringing it into kind of hopefully eventually clinical trials while studying pre-med and learning how to save people on a more hands-on level. So it's what really gets me excited. So that's kind of what's going on. I'm also right now submitting my first manuscript, which will be first author, which is so exciting. And it's so cool to see in the high academic realms how receptive people are to young people with ideas. And we're really nothing more than just young kids with train tickets who try to go out and try to make a difference in our world. So it's great. So I'm going to use this incredibly generous scholarship, which I cannot thank the Davidson family and everyone involved enough for, to continue my education and continue trying to learn how to make the world a little bit of a better place at one time. So huge thanks to Dr. Maureen Christie Lepostel Rogers, who was here from my hometown high school in Montrose, New York. She's incredible. She's dedicated her life to exciting kids about science and teaching them how the entire world is run on these little tiny complex things which happen on a level that we can't see. She's amazing. My mentor at Mount Sinai, Professor Willem Mulder, who's probably somewhere windsurfing. Hang loose, brother. Love you. And my family, who's been absolutely instrumental in keeping me passionate and keeping me excited and just every single part of the process. So thank you guys so much for coming out. Thank you for continuing to support STEAM and STEM, and I look forward to seeing what we will all do with the future and where the future generations will go with this incredible world that we live in. So thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Absolutely. Sure.
Our next recipient, a 15-year-old flutist from Fairfax Station, Virginia, Miss Emma, I get that right, Resmini. Emma?
Hi, I'm Emma Resmini. I'm a flutist from Fairfax Station, Virginia, but during the school year, I live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where I attend the Curtis Institute of Music, and I'm currently a sophomore bachelor's candidate. The title of my project is The Exquisite Breadth and Breadth of the Flute. Despite its unlimited expressive possibilities, the flute is not a major voice in classical music. The goal of my project was to present a solo recital that reflects both the historical importance of the flute in classical music as well as the modern use of the flute by contemporary classical music composers. Unlike the classical canon, the tonalities and structure of contemporary music is often foreign to many listeners. I found that it's important to talk to audiences to inform them of the composer's intention for writing the piece and what the audience should be listening for. In other words, to give the piece context. I hope to continue presenting contemporary works to ever-widening audiences. I'd like to thank my longtime former teacher, Alice Kogan-Weinreb, flutist of the National Symphony Orchestra here in DC. Even when I started with her as an 8-year-old, she always believed in my unique artistic voice and encouraged me to express it. I'd also like to thank my current teacher, Jeffrey Kaner, principal flutist of the Philadelphia Orchestra and professor at the Curtis Institute, for putting up with a lot, understanding that I have my own ideas about my career and letting me drive the bus, so to speak. Thank you.
Next in this category, we have Jenny Wang, a 17-year-old scientist from Cary, North Carolina. Jenny?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jenny Wang, and I'm from Cary, North Carolina. So the title of my project was Fully Automated Computational Brain Image Segmentation for Cross-Modality Analysis of Neurodegenerative Diseases, which was an interdisciplinary initiative at the cross-section of neuroscience and computer science. We've successfully made huge advances in genetics through the Human Genome Project, and now the newly announced Brain Initiative hopes to do the same for neuroscience. So in order to uncover the mysteries of this extremely important organ that is responsible for our everyday actions, we have to be able to map it in 3 dimensions. In response to this need, I created a novel computer vision algorithm that is able to map this extremely important organ in 3 dimensions and be able to automatically analyze terabytes of neuroimaging data so that we can more efficiently and effectively treat and diagnose neurodegenerative diseases that affect so many people in our society. In the future, I'd love to pursue a career involving technological innovation so that I can work on projects that I'm passionate about and also be able to travel the world and volunteer with underprivileged children. I'm hoping to conduct more CS-based research at Harvard so that I can really push the boundaries of what I know and can create. I'm so blessed to have been able to be mentored by some truly incredible people, including Dr. Sylvan Bui from Harvard Medical School, my high school research teacher, Mr. Gottwals, who I'm so happy is in the audience today, my other NCSM chancellors and teachers, including Dr. Roberts, Dr. Warshaw, Dr. Scheck, and Dr. Halpin, the Center for Excellence in Education, my tutors and peers at the Research Science Institute, my parents, and of course, the Davidsons for making this all possible. Thank you.
Well, we're moving on now to this year's $25,000 recipients, the first of which is Michael John Bennett, a 16-year-old composer from New York City.
Hello, everybody. I'm Michael Bennett. I'm from New York City, and I attend the Juilliard School Pre-College Division. I would like to first say that I am so grateful to receive the Davidson Fellows Scholarship. This means so much to me. Humbled, honored, and fortunate are some of the words that describe this feeling that I am experiencing now. I truly am so grateful for this scholarship. My project, Connective Color, Innovating as Composer, Organist, and Pianist within the area of music, is a connection between the music and the audience, the listeners, and the composer. I start off with an idea for a piece, I write it down, I compose it, and then I perform it to the audience. It is a process that has structure and discipline, yet is fluid and evolving. Curiosity for the new is at the forefront of this process. Usually within classical music, the piece is composed by someone and performed by someone else. With my music, I want to have the complete control of the musical assembly line from the first idea of the piece to the final debut performance. Through my disciplines as a composer, organist, and pianist, I plan to create music that will really reach out and emotionally move the listeners and bring them into another realm. Ever since I was 3 years old, I knew this is what I had to do. Music then became my life, my everything. Now as I create and perform music, I know that music is the center of everything I do and the center of my being. I've come a long way from that little 3-year-old with a musical dream, and now I have the privilege of sharing that music and with joy with the world. My plans for this scholarship are to use the resources to acquire a practice organ for my home based on the electronic organ program called Hauptwerk. This will allow me to play on multiple historic recorded organs from around the world. It will also enhance my practice time immensely and afford me the ability to really hone my technique and create new works for the organ. I would like to really thank my composition teacher and nominator, Dr. Andrew Thomas, who's in the audience tonight, for encouraging me to really go bold with my music. I would also like to thank my organ teachers, Johann Vexo, who is the organist at Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, and Peter Conti, organist at the Wanamaker Organ in Philadelphia, for instilling in me that musicality comes first, and teaching me how to make the organ as an instrument breathe and sing beautifully. I would also like to thank my mom and her family. My mom has been my backbone and my support all these years, and I'm so grateful to be her son. She's such a loving and caring mom, and I would not know what to do without her in my life. Her family has loved me, nurtured me, and supported me throughout this entire crazy journey of mine. I'm very grateful for their love and unwavering support. Thank you so much.
Next, we have a 17-year-old scientist from Palo Alto, California, Miss Joy Jin.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Joy Jin, and I'm from Palo Alto, California. My project was in the science category, and it's titled Identification and Characterization of a Rare Subpopulation with Cancer Stem Cell Properties in Lung Cancer. So I chose to focus on lung cancer because it's the most fatal cancer in the US today, and it also has the lowest improvement in 5-year survival rate over the past 3 decades. So because a majority of patients experience metastasis, usually more aggressive therapies such as chemoradiation and surgery are used to treat these patients. But the problem is that a lot of these patients experience recurrence after a few months. So in my project, I wanted to focus on identifying the drivers behind this persistent metastasis. And specifically, I honed in on a protein marker in the hedgehog signaling pathway to identify a potential cancer stem cell population, which scientists believe has chemoresistance. So this project has patient significance and also further illuminates how the hedgehog signaling pathway regulates lung cancer when it's activated. As a result, new methods of drug design, combination therapy, as well as patient predictors can be developed to further improve conventional lung cancer treatment. I'd like to thank the Davidsons for giving me this wonderful opportunity and scholarship, which I hope can further my college education as well as my interest in biology as well as health policy. And I'd also like to thank my mentors, Dr. Biao He and Dr. David Jablons, as well as UCSF, for giving me the chance to conduct my research. Lastly, I'd like to thank my teachers and my parents for always being there every step of the way. Thank you.
Next, we have Samia Karamuni, an 18-year-old scientist from Riverside, California. Tell us about your project.
Good evening. My name is Somya Karamune, and I'm from Riverside, California. My project was entitled A Rapid Field Detection of Liberibacter bacteria associated with potato zebra chip disease using lateral flow technology. As you can tell, it was in the science section as well. Citrus honglongbing has been a rampant problem in several places worldwide. In Florida specifically, it's already destroyed 50% of the citrus industry. And it is currently about to come to California and is threatening our citrus industry. Since the disease is not yet widely spread in California, I used a model system in tomato and potato to create a point-of-care detection system. The insects that spread the disease are tested for the presence of the bacterium. My test employs affordable tools and is somewhat similar to a pregnancy test. On-site testing helps growers take instant management decisions and, in return, results in less pesticide use, thereby protecting the environment. I plan to use my scholarship to pay for my college education. I'm currently going to UCSD, or UC San Diego, and I'm majoring in biochemistry and cell biology. It's my aim to pursue a career in research and hopefully get my PhD to do that. I would like to thank my mentors, Dr. Richard Lee and Dr. Sean Prager, my teachers, Ms. Jennings and Ms. Gonzalez, and my family for both their undying support and for fostering my passion in molecular biology for the last 18 years. Thank you.
Next, we have a 17-year-old Miss Deepika Kurup from Nashua, New Hampshire, whose engineering is in engineering.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Deepika Kurup. I'm from Nashua, New Hampshire, and I'm currently a freshman at Harvard. I'd first like to give a huge thanks to the Davidson Institute for Talent Development for recognizing extraordinary students from across the country and bringing us all together tonight. My project was in the category of engineering and is titled Photocatalytic Composites for Degrading Organics and Inactivating Bacteria in Water. Every summer, my family and I travel across the world to visit relatives in India. Now, in America, I've always had the privilege of having unlimited access to potable water. However, in India, I saw children drinking water that I felt was too dirty to even touch. I soon learned that 1/9 of the global population lacks access to clean drinking water. And this unacceptable social injustice compelled me to find a solution to the global water crisis. So my invention offers a green, sustainable, cost-effective, and eco-friendly solution for removing organics and bacteria from water. I synthesized photocatalytic composites. So basically, when sunlight strikes my composite, these reactive oxygen species are created, and those are responsible for degrading organics and inactivating bacteria. My composite can be deployed in several different ways, such as in point-of-use water purification systems, or even in large water tanks for long-term storage. The environmental and societal impact of my research is vast, considering the scarcity of clean water and the large number of people that are impacted by the global water crisis. Again, I'm very honored to be named a Davidson Fellow, and I plan on using my Davidson Scholarship towards my education. I'd like to thank my mentor, Professor Nagarajan from the University of Massachusetts Lowell, for his mentorship over the past 3 years and for giving me access to his laboratory. I'd also like to thank my high school chemistry teacher, Ms. Polawarzik, for her constant support, the Nashua Wastewater Treatment Facility for providing me access to wastewater for testing, Dr. Jonesa from the 3M Center for his guidance, and a shout out to crew back on campus. Finally, I'd like to give a huge thanks to my parents and my little sister Anjali for their constant support. Thank you so much.
Next, from Livingston, New Jersey, an 18-year-old, Miss Orianna Tang. Orianna?
Hi, everyone. As Mr. Davidson just said, my name is Orianna Tang, and I'm from Livingston, New Jersey. I am a 2015 fellow in literature for my portfolio, Ringing Tears from the Stars, a linguistic revitalization of human empathy. My goal in developing this portfolio was to recognize the ways in which creative writing can facilitate compassion. A lot of contemporary literature likes to focus on the bleakness and cynicism of the 21st century, but writing like that doesn't encourage people to change their ways. In response to this phenomenon, I tried to marshal together a collection of pieces that take a more hopeful view of life, while also examining how language, form, style, voice, and point of view, in addition to content, can contribute to empathy. I am currently a freshman at Yale University, double majoring in molecular biology and English, and I plan on using this scholarship to help fund that education. I would like to thank the Davidson Institute, Mr. and Mrs. Davidson, and Ms. Stacy Mossner for this incredible opportunity to be here with so many talented minds today. I would also like to thank my parents, my younger sister Isabella, my friends Christina Chu, Jessica Yang, and Maddie Kim, my friend and mentor Peter LaBerge, and last but not at all least, my teachers, but especially my English teacher, Mrs. Frederica Glucksman, for their help and support, not just with this project, but with pushing me to think harder and more complexly about my life, my experiences, and my passions. I would not be who I am or where I am today without everything you have all done for me, and I am eternally and inexpressibly grateful. Thank you.
Next, we have a mathematician, an 18-year-old, Mr. Peter Tian.
Hi, my name is Peter Tian, and I come from Columbus, Ohio. I did a math project entitled Extremal Functions of Forbidden Multidimensional Matrices. In my research, I studied 0-1 matrices which avoid certain patterns. Specifically, I derived estimates on the maximum number of 1 entries a matrix can have if it avoids given patterns. My results may have important applications to robot motion planning, wire routing in circuits, and even self-driving cars. With this Davidson Scholarship, I'm empowered to do more research as an undergraduate at Harvard. I would not have been able to earn this scholarship without the help of several people. I would like to thank my mentor, Jesse Jennison of MIT, for his invaluable guidance and his steadfast support. I'm also indebted to Professor Eddinghoff, Dr. Kovanova, and Professor Jerison from MIT for their helpful comments and suggestions. Thanks also go to the Center of Excellence in Education, the Research Science Institute, and the MIT Primes USA program for making this research possible. And finally, it would be wrong of me not to thank my parents, who have given me continuous support, encouragement throughout this project. Thank you.
Our next awardee is Miss Shriya Patel, a 16-year-old scientist from Carmel, Indiana.
Hi, I'm Shriya Patel from Carmel, Indiana, and the title of my project is The Effect of Time-Dependent Gain and Loss in a PT Symmetric Lattice. My award is in the science category and deals specifically with quantum mechanics and optical physics. The research dealt with a topic of current interest in quantum mechanics called PT symmetry, which arises in optical fibers. Optical fibers are glass tubes that carry light and are used in optical communication systems. Supposing one has two optical fibers, one of which amplifies light and the other attenuates light by an equal amount, and the two fibers are coupled such that light can leak from one to the other. One finds a variety of new quantum mechanical phenomena. I investigated such a system with not just two optical fibers, but multiple fibers in cases where the amplification and attenuation of light is varied with time. The results showed that one can control the properties of light in these fibers by manipulating the time variation of amplification and attenuation. This research has applications in developing new lasers, in improving optical communications, and in quantum computing. I would like to thank the Davidson Foundation for this award, my mentor, Professor Joglaker, for guiding me, and my parents for their support. Thank you.
Next, from Los Angeles, California, Moshe Willner.
Hello, everyone. My name is Moshe Willner, hailing from Los Angeles, California. My engineering research project is titled Reconfigurable Orbital Angular Momentum and Polarization Manipulation of 100 gigabits per second quadrature phase shift keyed data channels. Mouthful. Optical communications, which forms the backbone of global communications, can be compared to interconnected data freeways. A single optical fiber is a distinct multiple lane freeway, wherein many different data carrying beams can be simultaneously transmitted if each has a unique optical property, such as its polarization or its mode of wavefront twist. As a beam of light propagates, its wavefront can be made to twist in a corkscrew kind of fashion, and each of many beams can take on a different twisting value. An efficient network enables an optical beam to be switched from one fiber freeway to another without requiring inefficient electronic data detection. My research involves reconfigurable optical switching of a high data rate signal identified by its unique polarization and twist from one fiber to another, enabling a reconfigurable network, as well as averting the need to exit the high-speed optical freeway and take inefficient electronic connecting streets. So after this coming year in Israel, abroad, I will be attending Columbia University's engineering school, where I hope to major in biomedical engineering. I'm indebted to my nominators and mentors, Dr. Hao Wang and Mr. Yangshen Ren. I must thank them for their mentorship, help, insight, and time that they gave to critically help me complete my project. Although I believe I learned a lot from them, it will probably be many years before I can truly appreciate all that they really have done for me and taught me. I would also like to thank my mom and dad for providing me with the impetus and encouragement to undertake such a project, and for also being my parents. Thank you. Love you and thank you. Lastly, I would like to thank the entire Davidson Institute for this incredible opportunity. Indeed, I am deeply honored and humbled to be associated with the excellence that the Davidson Institute represents, and I will cherish my connection to Davidson and the other students more each year. Thank you.
This time from Plano, Texas, 18-year-old scientist Philip Yu. Philip?
Thank you, Mr. Davidson. So my name is Philip Yu, and I'm come from Plano, Texas. I'm currently a college freshman at Harvard in Cambridge, Massachusetts. So my project is in the field of drug development, and it's entitled Using HDAC Inhibitors CI994 to Enhance Progranulin Efficiency for Dementia Therapy. Now, in my project, I identify a compound that's essentially able to target a disease protein that's present in two different forms of dementia, frontotemporal dementia and Alzheimer's disease. Now, this compound works by increasing expression of that protein, which is called progranulin. And essentially what happens in the two diseases is that this protein is pretty lowly expressed, especially in frontotemporal dementia. So by targeting this protein and by increasing expression of it, we can possibly find ways to treat or maybe even reverse the disease itself. Now, most of my work on the diseases is currently in vitro, so the next steps are to continue further in vivo studies and eventually, hopefully, clinical trials. And maybe a few years down the line, we'll see this compound on the shelves treating patients with these two diseases, which, again, is the ultimate goal. Next, I'd like to extend a very warm thank you again to Mr. and Mrs. Davidson, the whole Davidson Institute, for this amazing honor. I'm extremely humbled and extremely grateful to have received the scholarship, and I plan to use it to help further my education and further my passion and interest in science. I'd also like to thank everyone who helped me along the way with this project, namely my mentor, Professor Malcolm Hertz, my two teachers, Mrs. Deanna Shea and Mr. Neil Milburn, and my family, my mom in the audience today, and my dad and my sister who couldn't be here. But again, thank you to everyone. Thank you to the Davidson Institute, and thank you all for your time.
And now, for this year's three $50,000 awards, an 18-year-old mathematician, Mr. Noah Golowich from Lexington, Massachusetts. Noah?
Hi, my name is Noah Golowich, and I am from Lexington, Massachusetts. I completed a project in mathematics entitled Resolving a Conjecture on Degree of Regularity with some novel structural results. This project is in the field of Ramsey theory, which is an area focused on proving that in large and complicated systems, certain types of patterns must always arise. Given a particular type of equation, I showed that if we assign to each of the numbers 1, 2, 3, and so on some color, that we can always find a solution to the equation with all of the variables having the same color. My results prove and generalize a conjecture from 2005, and I used a different technique from the previous attempts to prove this conjecture. My methods potentially have future applications similar to those of other Ramsey-type results, which have led to the development of algorithms for many important computing problems, including cryptography and scheduling. I am incredibly grateful to the Davidson Institute for their generous scholarship, which I will use for my education at Harvard. I plan to study mathematics or computer science there, and I also hope to continue to perform scientific research. I would like to thank the MIT Primes program, which is where I perform my research, as well as its staff. In particular, I'm grateful to my mentor, Laszlo Miklos Levas, as well as Professors Jacob Fox and Pavel Eddingoff. I would also like to thank my family for their support. Thank you.
Next we have Deva Pandya, 18-year-old from Appleton, Wisconsin.
Hi, I'm Deva Pandya. I'm from Appleton, Wisconsin, and for my Davidson project, I worked on research titled Algorithms for Minimum Cost Linear Network Coding Design for Networks with General Connections, which is just long enough that I have to read it off of the piece of paper. So basically what that means is that I worked on figuring out how to compress information as it flows through a network. More specifically, I worked on algorithms that figure out the best way to encode information and then decode it or decombine it once it gets to the destination. The benefit of doing this is we can make the network more efficient. So one of the immediate applications of my research is within internet backbone networks. So my research can be used to make the internet more scalable and faster. So I conducted this research at a number of different places, and I had a lot of people's support in conducting it. So I have a number of people I'd like to thank that helped me while I worked on this project. So first of all, my parents, Nitin and Shriya Patel, who are in the audience today, who have constantly supported me and done everything possible to allow me ample opportunity, including moving halfway around the world with me and my brother. And also my brother, Kirat Pandya, who couldn't join us today, but for introducing me to computer science at a pretty young age. And I'd also like to thank my professor and mentor, Professor Ying Sui, for expert guidance, and our lab's principal investigator, Professor Muriel Medard, for her constant involvement with my project. Finally, I'd like to thank MIT, the Center of Excellence in Education, that also made my research possible through the Research Science Institute program. And of course, I'd like to thank the Davidson Foundation for honoring my work with such an award and allowing me to continue my education in computer science at Harvard. Thank you.
Finally, we have Swatha Anandhan from Richland, Washington, with a very interesting project.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Swatha Anandhan, and I'm from Richland, Washington. My project is entitled Next Generation Supercapacitors for Ultra-Fast Energy Storage and Harvesting, in the category of science. A supercapacitor is very similar to a battery, except it can hold a lot more energy and give it off at a very quick rate. Although we may not realize it, supercapacitors are used in things like cars, airplanes, cell phones, and computers. I was able to modify a specific portion of the supercapacitor, the interface between the collector and the electrode. I doped graphite with nitrogen and boron using the ion implantation method, and finally created supercapacitors. When compared to commercially available supercapacitors, they showed an increase by about 400% in how much energy they can hold, but also give off that energy 200 times faster. I'd like to start off by thanking my mentors, Dr. Yanwen Zhang at the University of Tennessee, for allowing me to conduct my experiments in her lab, and Dr. Vijay Kumar Murugesan and Gaudi Manikam at the Pacific Northwest National Lab for their support and guidance throughout my experiments. I'd also like to thank my parents for always encouraging me to step out of my comfort zone and truly pursue my interests. I'd also like to give a special thanks to the Davidson Institute for giving me this scholarship, which will allow me to continue my education and career in research as I attend college next year. Lastly, I would like to thank Tacy Mosner for organizing and coordinating this wonderful event. Thank you.
Congratulations to all the Davidson Fellows, all 20. As you move forward through your education and your careers, we know you will continue to make a positive difference. I would like to thank our congressional co-sponsors, Senator Harry Reid from our home state of Nevada and Senator Chuck Grassley from Iowa. I would also like to thank the National Museum of the American Indian for allowing us to host this event here tonight. It's absolutely a beautiful facility. I would also like to acknowledge all of the teachers, mentors, nominators, and especially the parents and family members who helped the fellows achieve these amazing goals. Thank you for everything you've done to support these outstanding young people. We are thrilled to recognize the 2015 Davidson Fellows, not only for their incredible projects, but also for their journey they forged to reach this point. With nurturing, gifted students like these will be among those who will solve the world's problems. Thank you again for sharing this special evening with us, and good night. But I'd like to announce that Joe Broome, where's Joe? Here he is going to close the reception with a special performance of The Bullfight by David Bandman. It's all yours.
Thank you.